Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to have you here today. Your story is near and dear to my heart. I have three little ones who actually are not so little anymore. But just have such a love for kids' tools and innovation and children themselves. So I'm excited to hear more about the business. And I would love to start with what you got started with. If you'll just take us through like the very beginning of your founder story.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on your show. I was actually selling on Amazon as a reseller originally, and I was doing pretty well with it. I was actually finding things online or in stores at a discount and then reselling them on Amazon. After a while, I realized like I wasn't really able to scale that. So at the time, I had a 1-year-old kid, my firstborn son, and he was wrecking my cabinets. Like he was
Yeah.
taking things out, and it wasn't just wrecking, but also like touching things that were dangerous, glass bottles and cleaners and sprays. And I wanted to get like a cabinet lock that I can like install without screws and also wouldn't be like really ugly. And I couldn't really find one. I said, I'm always looking to make a product and this was an opportunity. So I found a supplier in China and designed this cabinet lock with an adhesive, and it uses magnets. You don't really see the lock. It's on the inside. Launched that on Amazon, and it performed really well. So that was the first
Awesome.
product. A couple of years later, I was still doing this product, and I wanted to scale it up. And I had my brother-in-law. He became my partner, and he joined me, and we launched a full line of child safety products. It was like 6 more products, really, really successful on Amazon. There were 2 of them were top 100 in baby for years.
Wow.
We got into other categories, potty training, baby gear, like baby swings, changing pads, bath toys, all sorts of different baby products. We also expanded to retail. So we're selling to Walmart, Target, Baby List, which is a great site. And we're pretty much like everywhere.
That's awesome. And I love that you started with a need and something that was dear to your heart because I think sometimes that's what you need to get kind of like the giddy up energy to actually do the thing. You got to be something you care about. What was it if you were to go back to young Judah and be like, here's three things that would have made all of this easier. What do you think those three things would be?
One would be investing in marketing earlier. We've always had the sales, but we never really invested in the marketing and we weren't getting credit. We've always focused on innovation and aesthetics, but people weren't talking about us enough. And ever since we started investing in the marketing, we've started to see that shift completely. Makes a lot of things easier. I would say that's one of the top 3. 2 would be the team that we built. We didn't build it fast enough. Me and my partner were doing a tremendous amount of sales and just 2 of us, and we didn't hire quick enough. And so paying the tax on that to have systems they need to build out and communication. The faster you hire, the faster you get experience. Yeah, we definitely failed. We didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know how to hire. We didn't have roles really. We both doing everything. So I wish we knew how to hire quicker. Number 3, it's software and automation.
Mm.
Having the right software systems and the right automations can really help us scale. Instead of just adding headcount constantly and things breaking, and having the right software setups help ease that load tremendously.
Okay, super helpful. So you broke it down to if today Judah could go back to slightly younger Judah and help him out, it would be investing in marketing, investing in team, and investing in software and automation. Can I dig into each of those with you because I'm really interested in more.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. So on the marketing side, when you say investing in marketing, what I heard was really brand and that old Warren Buffett saying, I don't even know if he coined it, but it's always attributed to him that brand is the greatest moat. And is that really what you mean by marketing? Are there other aspects of marketing that you've found like a lot more durable value in? I mean, I've been a customer of your brand, and thank you, by the way. And I know it as Jool. So clearly some of those investments that you started to make are paying off in customer recognition. And I'm sure that helps with retention and cost of acquisition and all of that stuff. So is it brand that's kind of at the core of that focus on like young entrepreneurs go make sure that you're doing marketing right? Or are there other kind of pillars within that kind of bucket of marketing that you think have been really important or have helped you mature?
It's mostly brand. We weren't really telling our story. And even when customers were happy with our product, they weren't really talking about it. We might have a product that was selling 10 times of the competitors, and when the articles would come out, recommendations, we wouldn't even get a mention. And these brands selling not really great product would be the ones that are getting talked about. And it's like, why aren't they talking about us? And the answer is we weren't enabling that with our marketing. And since we did, the conversation has completely shifted.
Which brings us to another type of marketing, affiliate marketing. I don't know if this was your experience, but my experience in the early days of building was that we weren't doing affiliate marketing from day one, but I think we were pretty early on for my first brand in doing it. And I just thought, oh, this is like a good way to get more, more places, more eyeballs. And what I I don't know, under calculated, I guess, miscalculated was that actually once we had like enough affiliate marketing going on, like that was the thing that generated the reviews engine, which there's a little bit of a dark underside to that, right? You're like, oh, this is all pay for play. Like I find that so irritating and sad. And the same with awards. Like awards are just all pay for play. And so none of my brands had any awards because I just refused to do it, which was probably my marketing team was like, Sam, come on, it's 2 grand. Like just apply for the award. I'm like, no, I could just, I don't need to buy a gold badge, but of course it would help. I'm curious if you had the same experience of like just getting listed on these affiliate marketing platforms is enough for that part of the engine to kind of kick into gear. And it was really mystifying to me as a younger entrepreneur. Like you always want to build the best thing and be recognized for like the quality of the product and the innovation in it. And at the end of the day, we weren't getting credit for that stuff either until we gave people a way to make money on us. And then like, okay, fine. Now you can be in the listicle and now you get the award. And was it the same for you?
We approached it a little bit differently. While we do have an affiliate program, we haven't generated a tremendous amount on there that have been working out really well has been through TikTok. It's also, I feel like it's a really good alignment, with the brand. And so TikTok really turned the mom into like an affiliate. And now the lines are blurred between like moms, creators, affiliates, influencers. I don't even know what's what anymore.
That's awesome. Like, so you mentioned these 3 things. I want to talk about all of the marketing team software. And one version of kind of like that loop closing in on itself is if you think about trying to build a brand, trying to build awareness, trying to get to that, N number of customer impressions that are needed before like they'll remember your brand, which is historically always been 7 is like the kind of the going wisdom on how many times someone needs to see your brand in order either to make a decision or to remember you. And in order to get those 7 impressions, I mean, you can pay for display advertising but my favorite version of this was just to be in a store. And so we listed on as many channels as we could because I knew that like there's customer search and customer discovery. And when someone's in discovery mode, we could just be around. And if they're looking for a like product, at least we give them another chance through our listings engine, to see us. And that really helped us build the brand. And so it took a lot of operational capability, which isn't always associated with marketing, to get to that marketing lift that we wanted. But it turns out that there was like a real mix of those two that made it work at least for us. And I don't know if you found too, you mentioned TikTok shop, like people are discovering your brand. You're doing marketing on TikTok shop, but it's like got this beautiful side dish of sales coming with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think a lot of brands value the marketing opportunity of just being in the store, just being on the shelf. There is definitely a value in that. And now there's a certain legitimacy that your brand will have just being in a Walmart or Target. This is a real brand. Um, I think it's definitely a great opportunity for a brand, but it's not the whole picture. There's the packaging, the imagery that you have, the assets on your sites, the unboxing experience, and then all the other things that we're doing around social media and PR.
How about the team? What are like some of the biggest mistakes that you made around team early on? And then what has been the more recent unlock other than just like speed to build a team? Sometimes you have to just sort of like you've got to lean into it and accept that you might make some mistakes. But has there been any difference in your approach to team building in more recent years?
The structure of our team was probably not optimized for what it needed to be. There wasn't enough balance in some departments. Now it feels right over time as we grew. This is really my first job, and same for my partner. So we don't have any corporate experience, and part of our MO is just to move fast and to be the first to market and be the first to do things. And that's great when you're like 5 people in a room or 10 people in a room. When you start to get a little bigger and you start over communicating, And that becomes a mess,
Oh
because now
no.
everybody's CCing everybody and everything and getting approvals on everything, and it's like the meetings are everybody, and it's like, okay, this is also not working. So understanding how to create the right system, and also having the right people in the right meetings, understanding who's the decision maker, having that bureaucracy that we hate, but reworking that every so often, understanding there's going to be parts that are, people are going to complain, and hopefully keeping it to a minimum as much as possible.
Well, you still seem pretty young, so it hasn't aged you, all the bureaucracy.
Not yet, not yet,
Not
but
yet.
it will.
You still got some kick in your step. For me, there's been a real tension there as like um, as a builder of physical products that are like durable and permanent. They're still the greatest thing ever, right? And like that's so comforting. I don't have to adjust it. There's other designs, of course, that like there's V2 and V3, but there is like no permanent version of like leadership frameworks where you're just like, this will work forever in every, in every kitchen or in every bathroom or whatever.
Absolutely not.
Right.
What's working for us now is not going to work for us in a few years from now, if not sooner. And so you kind of constantly revisit and make sure your workflow is making sense. I want people to feel empowered to make their own decisions, and that will enable us to keep our edge.
Okay, last piece, software and automation. I'm guessing that at some point in your life there was a clipboard and maybe a Google sheet or a spreadsheet in your life that had the truth of everything. How have you adjusted your approach to software over time, and what's like maybe also as you answer this, I'd love to get in just like what are some of the things that you've automated where you're like this is like chef's kiss.
From pen and paper for inventory and orders and purchasing, to Excel sheets, to maybe to Google Sheets, to like I don't know if I call it ERP, but like a light one, to now being on NetSuite. And so that's, been a journey, and it's a growing pains to learn what's needed and how to design it out. And then there's the automations, an automation project that we had recently as we migrated from Amazon Marketplace to Amazon Vendor. So instead of selling directly to the consumer, we're selling to Amazon, who sells to the consumer. And we had that as a project that we were able to automate essentially almost the entire process. And it just works. Everything is automatically confirmed, all electronically, and there's very minimal input on anybody's end. And like these are the type of automations. How much can we just not touch and still not mess up everything? And it's still a work in progress. And as more retailers come on board, we're going to do the same thing.
As it will be, right? One of the products that we focused on a lot is EDI. And I remember feeling in 2015, I was like, one day when I grow up, I'm going to take down EDI. Like, and that was like so naive. There's no way. It's like, the thing that runs everything, but it's all a snowflake. It's every EDI connection is like its own little thing. You can automate it at some point, but up to some point, but then you're like, here we go again. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Are you guys using AI much?
We are. So we hired a software developer, and he's been working with our ERP and creating all these automations. They're like, why don't we do this sooner? So like 3 months later, we hired another one. Once we realized how many
That was
projects we can get done with the use of AI, the developer was showing me how many commits you would have to GitHub compared to previously. Like the advancements have been so rapid that like with Claude Code, you'd be able to have 5 agents simultaneously, and we're getting so much more done. And then within the company, just the everyday employee, we've encouraged them to create their own apps. Those have been really helpful, being able to spin those up quickly, and them having the ownership over it, and then getting insights in Excel, like turning sales reports into trend reports, actually getting usable data. So really everybody's using it, and we're still just scratching the surface. And I think it's important even for myself to spend time on all sorts of.
Yeah. It's such an exciting and fun time to be building for all those reasons. It's like, one experience I've been having too is like, I'll build a tool. Well, I've been developing software for a really long time, but the permanence of it or the need for it to be permanent, the need for it to be like a high quality artifact was so much greater in the past because, going from 0 to 1 on something took a lot of effort. And now I'm having this experience of like, I can be a little bit more playful and experimental because if my experiment doesn't work out, the stakes are so much lower. I didn't bring five devs in to help, and I can fully build something, throw it away, having like resolved my idea or my prototype or whatever, and be like, okay, now we're going to start fresh from this. And that's been really playful for me. And it sounds like it's been a good experience for you too, fiddling around with these things and figuring out what's going to be the most useful to people.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, in general, I'm an optimist, but what I see in my own company is it's making us more productive, more capable. I had a recent employee that didn't really have much experience and said, okay, he's going to get trained with AI. He's much, much faster, creating tools for himself. And like, he's at a place where after not so long, it's like he's been here for years. And so how's that a bad thing? How is upskilling quickly a bad thing for us? At the end of the day, the AI is not going to control itself. Still need someone to direct it. That will just create more need for my company to grow and to have more people, really.
Yeah. Hey guys, you're just hiring.
I'm not joking. We hired a couple of people last week and hiring another one hopefully this week. And I have an abundance mindset. I don't see this negativity. I think it's very short-sighted. The more prosperity there is, the more productivity, there's going to be more jobs.
When are you running for office? This is great. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's really wonderful to see the evolution of what work looks like, and it can be scary to be on the near jagged edge of that, this all these skill sets that people have are some of them are irrelevant. I mean, my skill sets are irrelevant. Like I wrote for a living for a while. Nobody needs me for that anymore. Like nobody needs me for writing code anymore. Nobody needs me for like pushing pixels around in Figma anymore. But I have a different toolkit that I used to deliver my taste through those things, through writing, through code and product features and through design. And so I think if you have an abundance mindset, like you point out, and you're willing to learn, then that it's really actually a delightful time to be in knowledge work and figuring out like how you can get even more done with less.
Absolutely. I mean, for yourself, like it wasn't about the fact that you wrote a story that gave the value. It was your take on it. Now you can get to that take faster and you can put it out quicker. Then you can write that code a lot faster. But it wasn't about, oh, how many keystrokes you did. That wasn't the value. It was the brains behind the code. And the brains behind the code is still very valuable. I was speaking to I saw a local software company. They develop projects for other companies. And I'm thinking about like all the local businesses, and they would never be able to hire them for a project, but now they could. They want a custom software. They could do it. They can demo it out in a few hours. They can create things for other businesses that weren't able to afford it, and now they can. So there's so much abundance. As I was saying, this is the greatest time to be alive.
Speaking of sort of product and having a story that you want to share with the world, I would love to talk about your business's product line, and maybe we can enter into that conversation from here with just some curiosity around like how you're using these new tools in the product development process or the product lifecycle management process, for starters.
The research development of the products definitely has changed. Being able to get and compile all this data and get the insights in much easier and use that to help us define the product that we want to create. So that's, I would say, step one. The concept creation is also a lot quicker. Sometimes in minutes or less, you can show what the product will look like. Even non-designers like myself, if I wanted to give an idea, it's hard to verbalize an idea, but I can create the image. And so maybe I'm not a designer, but I do have some good ideas to share. There's also, I would say, around the products itself. So we have a lot of products. We have a full assortment of potty training, and we started creating all sorts of tools to help benefit the consumers. When's your child ready to potty train? So building these interactive tools to help them make the right decisions, find the right potty for you, and had non-technical people build this out and put it on our site. So these are like interesting things we were never even considered.
I was going to try really hard not to ask you about compliance, but because I love compliance. Has it been helpful? And I mean, it's the baby compliance landscape is really complicated, and you have like a pretty wide range of products too. So baby compliance for a product that it has a food use, like your musical spoons. is like even it's like the next nth degree of all of that and the materiality of it. Has it been helpful to you to have kind of like more AI sidekicking in navigating the complexity of that piece of the puzzle?
And we also have someone that's managing the compliance that's been in the field for a very long time. So in that aspect, like we're kind of covered. It's really more on the managing all the different, inspections and the testing reports, and even the product development team is really knowledgeable, whether it's chemical, physical, or labeling. They're pretty familiar at this point.
I wanted to ask you too about like so many of your products have this really interesting mix of there's a small bit of electronics in it. And I really like those ones. Like there's a thermometer, there's innovation there. There's a thermometer in one of your bathtubs. And then I've just mentioned the musical spoon, which I think is like so adorable. Has that increased the complexity of bringing these things to market? Has it changed the timeline? How do you consider kind of when's the right product or the right moment to bring that in versus sort of leave it on the cutting room floor for whatever reason. But let's talk a little bit about the consumer electronics piece of it.
So that's something that we've struggled with over time. And there were certain things that were maybe over engineered, and so it's like, was it really worth it? And so like, do we really want to go down this path? How do we not over engineer something and not get stuck on this project for years and years? The, the singing spoons is actually one of the examples I'll bring. Unfortunately, it's a great product, but it was over engineered. It took a long time to really figure it out, and just kept going back and forth with the factory and the way it worked, and it doesn't break. And it was just a lot. And the market for it was not, we didn't really have a great market fit. The retailers didn't take it. And on Amazon, it wasn't really a good fit. And that's really where you realize, okay, if I don't have great marketing, then how are you supposed to launch a product like this? It
Right.
doesn't really work. So, more recently, I
There's
mentioned with
no
the
one who's
marketing yet.
searching for a musical spoon, right? No one's going to be like, "What's the
Exactly.
best musical spoon?" Like, this is the N one. It's the only musical spoon.
Nobody's looking for it. So TikTok is great for that. Product discovery. It's interesting. It's different. If you want to launch a product that needs that consumer education, it's by far the best place. We've seen with our most recent launches, like it kind of took us, by shock of how successful they were. We launched recently our Smart Wave touch-free diaper pail. So it's a new product completely. It's the first hands-free, like electronic sensor diaper pail, and it's really beautiful. And we were able to tell that story through TikTok, and right away we saw that demand, not just on TikTok, but on our website, on Target, on Amazon. And it's been hard to actually keep that in stock. And then our foldable bathtub that we launched as well, one that you mentioned with the thermometer, that was not in stores. It was just on TikTok and Amazon, and we couldn't keep it in stock. We were shocked at how like quickly it picked up on TikTok. Hopefully it will remain in stock, but it's been difficult. We've been ordering and ordering.
Wow. That's a great, I mean, yeah, good job though. Yeah, it's so interesting to see how a new selling avenue like a live social selling or a TikTok shop can really just completely flip the script on what it means to launch a product because that experiential version of the storytelling can come to life and all of a sudden you're not relying on like 3 images and a couple of badges and, some text to get the use case across for first time parents who are the best parent buying audience. Like new parents have as a former new parent, highest willingness to pay of anyone on the planet. You're like, I will do anything to get this little thing to stop screaming at me. Like, take my money. And so I can imagine that like that the delivery method of video is so helpful in that in like being like, oh, that that thing's gonna, that thing's gonna help me make the kids stop screaming. My kids were great
Yeah.
actually, but
At TikTok, I would say today's probably the greatest opportunity that anybody's ever had to launch a brand and hit the world with a product that nobody knows, and have thousands and thousands of creators creating videos for you just on commission. Like it's crazy. If I was starting from scratch, I wanted to start a new brand, I'd be like, okay, does this work on TikTok? Is this optimized to go viral? Does it have that virality? Does it have the right feel for TikTok or not? If not, then I wouldn't launch it.
Crazy awesome advice. Yeah, like, and such a good lens, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of early entrepreneurs there, or even like seasoned entrepreneurs, but that are looking for the next thing, whether it's the next business that they're going to build or the next product they're going to build within their current business. Unless you have a problem that you're obsessed with solving, which is like a great framework. I love that lens of just like, will this work in this one channel? And if yes, we can make so many assumptions about it like for all of the other channels right now that it's worth doing. And if not, like, okay, we'll go back to the drawing board because without virality, it's going to get really hard to like spin above the noise in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, if you were trying to sell air conditioners, it's just not going to work on TikTok. I mean, if you could do it, like, it's just not, it's not
Okay.
sexy enough, but
That sounds like a challenge and I am up to it. I'm getting on my pen. TikTok air conditioners. I'm going to send you a commission. Okay. I'm coming to my last couple questions for you. You built a kids brand and a baby brand because you were inspired by problems that you had, opportunities you had as an early parent. You have 5 kids now. Am I counting right? Or is there more?
5 kids, yes.
Are they old enough to help you with product development other than just being like inspiration? Are they giving you their opinions yet on what you should build next or what you just build and they're like, "Dad, that's not good enough."
No, not yet. I mean, they might be old enough, but they're not involved yet. My last child, my daughter, she's like 14 months now. And between her and her older sibling, it's like 5+ years. So there was like a gap where I didn't really get to use any of my own products for a while.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to finally, like our baby swing, we had it for maybe 5 years now. But my second youngest was already 1 or 2 years old when we launched it. Like it was so exciting to finally experience using my products again and being able to have my own baby in mind. And it's just amazing.
It sounds like you need to do this once every like 3 to 5 years just to get that constantly renewing source of getting to use
Yeah.
the product.
Yeah. We got to like mark down the child rearing costs into product development,
No.
research.
It's actually like $1,000,000 for R&D for this, not even counting college. Maybe college won't exist by the time our kids grow up, maybe they'll all just be in like AI vocational school of like building cool you won't even need a classical education.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am curious where it will go.
I think there's too many people in college today than there needs to be. I kind of feel like we're already in a place where if you have the desire to learn, the world's in front of you. Like I never went to college, but I learned a lot, and I've always been learning. So there's so much to know. There's so much you can learn on your own.
Just go build things.
Yeah,
We are a product of our time. Well, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you for coming on, for sharing so much about your story, your background, and for all the tips and tricks for building teams and going from 0 to 1 on a business. I appreciate it.
and thank you for having me on your show.
Awesome.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Back at you. Take care. Today, I'm talking to Judah Bergman, the founder who looked at what the baby safety market had to offer, decided everything in it was wrong, and built an 8-figure bootstrap brand to prove it. Was that a one-shot wonder? Two-shot wonder? It was two-shot. Okay, Karen. Today, I'm talking to Judah Bergman, the founder who looked at what the baby safety market had to offer, decided it just wasn't good enough, and built an 8-figure bootstrap brand to prove it. Today, I'm talking to Judah Bergman, the founder who looked at what the baby safety market had to offer, decided everything in it was wrong, and built an 8-figure bootstrap brand to prove it. Sweet. Okay, thanks, pal. That was great. Okay, great. Well, maybe he can become an EDI customer for it, but I'll show him later in the week.